So today we are going. This is our Tech podcast series, and we are helping the community folks to get start their journey with technical things, to start their journey with various domains, to get an idea to how what it looks like to work on different domains. And today we are having Rahul Ambhore, who is Assistant Vice President at State Street, and I would love to heard the little bit of introduction about yourself, sir.
Sure. Thanks, Lakshit. Thanks for the opportunity. My name is Rahul Ambhore. I'm into the IT for more than a decade. To be specific, 12 years. Last 7.5 years, I am into the cloud, DevOps, FinOps, and all emerging technologies. I'm working for a couple of banks and then a financial institute to help them migrate, rehost, re-architect their solutions, applications on cloud. That's very quick. And then I'm also a certified trainer in Microsoft certified trainer for last 3.5 years. I also hold active Azure Solution Certified Architect Solution Certificate for last 3.5 years, 4 years almost. And then I have a few more active certifications in Cisco firewall, and then data security and this domain. So that's the credentials all about me. Apart from the day-to-day work, I also talk to many other communities, forums, conferences which are involved to emerging technologies like cloud, DevOps, FinOps, and then cryptocurrencies and IoTs and all sort of things. So that's very quick about me. That's what I do, and that's what I like to do.
Yes, sir. So that was pretty amazing to know about your, the work you had been doing and the community work, that the contribution that you are making for the community. I would love to know about like being a leader. How do you think you are a future-ready ingredient? Means what it looks like to lead a company where you are dealing so many things, in the cloud perspective that I am saying.
Sure, I think this is a great question, and if you see at, you need to always keep your eyes open. You need to always keep learning, keep exploring what is happening across the industry. Just not focus on your day-to-day work, or you need to meet many people, understand their perspective, and understand what the industry going towards. Right. So if you have a learning attitude, if you keep talking to many people, if you're networking, if you are if you're open to learn, right, so then you'll get to know how what are the things that are happening in the industry. And then it matter of priority, right? We
Yes.
all have to do what need to be done in 7 10 to 6, like our daily job, right? But to follow our passions, you need to find some time and then participate and do some exploration that would help you to get into the this new stream emerging technologies.
Yeah, so definitely, when it comes to company perspective and the innovation and the future ready, when we are talking, then every time it's not about solving a problem. And if definitely one is thinking about building a future, then you have to think out of the box to make something good. Every time solving a problem is not the solution, right solution. You have to just think out of the box to make something
Mhm.
out of the box. That personally what I think.
Yeah.
So, sir, what are the top three trends that you will think will shape the future? When it comes to the so many new terms like metaverse, cloud, and everything. So, how do you think these avenues are going to affect the future?
Sure. If you just to answer this question, right? If you go a decade or 2 decade back, if you see the energy sector, take an example of any energy, right? Crude oil or solar energy or any energy, right? The energy is the king. And
Yeah.
then it comes as oil as a king, right? If you see any vehicle that runs or that powers our journey, or not just vehicle, right, our homes or any transportation systems, right, you see oil is the king, right? And that's how these the industry has emerged for last 2 3 decades. If you just take a recent supply chain issues that is happening just because of the current warfare, right? The Russia is a big supplier to of energy to the world, right? And because of there is a disruption in the supply chain, you are saying what the this prices of the oil is, just not prices but the energy sector altogether is reaching to the high, right? And if you compare or add the same thing to our IT industry, right? So today, data is a new oil. Yeah.
Yeah,
So whoever has our data, they can make, they can impact our life positively and also negatively. So the key trend that I see today is data is the new oil. So you really need to understand how your data being used. What are the how you can articulate the data that you have, right? Maybe you have a data for one specific use case, but how you can you leverage that data to make other important insight out of that, right? I'll just quickly give one very simple example, right? Take an example of any airline, right, in India, right? If you see, if you take a trend of people who are traveling for Delhi to New York, right, for Q1 this year. So if you just get the data from the airline and see, data will help to many other industries. So one industry would be airline industry, who would define that, say, if the passenger from India to New York, or Delhi to New York is flying comparatively higher, right? So you have an opportunity to do some price
yeah,
hike there, right? Because there is a requirement. So just normal economics, right? Price versus the supply versus demand. So many other airlines can take that data and make some assumption that there is a demand. So we have opportunity to hike some prices, right? So there is, that's a direct impact. If you see, there is a indirect impact of this data. This insight is, if there is a frequent travel from Delhi to New York, and there is, if that's the situation for a couple of years, right? What will happen on the your housing industries? So the prices of the houses will go down in India, versus prices for the housing systems or housing industry will go up, skyrocket to the New York, because there is a more demand in New York, whereas supply is less. The same thing in the India as well. We don't have a demand, people are flying back to New York, and then that's how we can make we can make a most of the data. So data is really a king. So I think whoever is coming to this industry now, they can start exploring the how data can be leveraged. There are many other technologies that can help us to build the systems on a data, and then make some insight out of it. So big data is one of them. Then there is few other machine learning algorithm that we can run, so on and so forth, right? So the key one thing is data. And then another one is artificial intelligence, right? If you see, it is still it is being in industry for last 5 6 7 years, or maybe in 10 last 10 years, right? It is not evolved that much. So there is opportunity to make some progress on that. The current system, if you see, there is lots of systems being sending feeds to our cloud or any other storage, right? If we are
yeah,
just running a vehicle, right, vehicle are sending so much of data inputs or feedbacks, or whatever happening to the vehicle, how the feedback from the vehicle to the to the storage, right? And based on those input, we can make some insights, and we can improve the vehicle performance or user experience, right? So how we can leverage the machine learning there, that is the key thing. And the metaverse, I will not talk much because this is still in a new very new phase now. Let it explore a bit. The another key thing I'm very much very much I like it very much is Web3 that we are coming up, or blockchain or cryptocurrencies. It is gonna, if it works really, if it works, then it will be amazing. That we don't need to focus on just single institution who are managing all our records, ledgers, or anything, right? There would be a blockchain, a couple of nodes
yeah,
will managing all those things. So these are the couple of things that I think will change the trend for next decade.
yeah, definitely. So you are been in the cloud, specifically in Microsoft Azure journey from a very few years. So how you get into the Microsoft Azure, and how been your journey working with open source communities and everywhere?
Sure. So I'm really fortunate to start or got it into the Azure when Azure was very new. I started my journey in 2014-15 when Azure just started their couple of services. I know I was deploying couple of services on a portal or service called ASM, Azure Service Manager. Now it is replaced, like last 4 or 5 years back, it is replaced with the ARM. So if you see a couple of services in Azure, it is still called classic services,
Yes,
classic
sir.
VMs or classic storage. Right now,
Yes,
it is not. It is not anymore. It is all has been changed to the ARM, right? So I got into the ASM model, so I have seen all those migrations. I have done myself all those migration from ASM to ARM, a couple of VMware or Citrix migration to the cloud as well. That's how I started into it. And then if anyone wanted to get into the Azure or any cloud in specs in that terminology, right? I think if this is the right time, this is the key thing, that if you see the blockchain technologies, IoTs, crypto, Web3, OpenAI, Metaverse, you name it, right? There are so many trends are just started popping up. It's been in the industry for 5 years now. We have enough material to learn, understand, enough resources to explore those things, right? So we definitely can take a turn to those, and then we can leverage. As far as the Azure concerns, right? I think Azure has so many matured services for to support all your requirement or use cases. Take an example of IoTs, blockchain, crypto, machine learning, and data, right? To support all your use cases based on these technologies, Azure has the services to offer. You can leverage the AI cognitive services, Azure Search, or AI and machine learning models that Azure has, even the bot and all sort of things that Azure has done so many things on this ground for us to just pick up a service and use your use case. So that's how you can get started to on Azure with all those emerging technologies.
sir. So suppose if you have to, this is like an impromptu question again. So if you just have to explain someone who is in like fifth or sixth standard, or maybe someone in eighth standard, how you will explain the cloud, like what it looks like to work in cloud, and what is exactly cloud.
Sure. So whoever is, I think nowadays it is very simple to explain a cloud, right? If you take an example of 20 days back, and I was watching one of the show where they were talking about what is internet, right? That time people were very confused what internet really means, right? How and the anchor of the show was talking that there is a multiple computer, there is a network, and all those things, right? Where it was very tough for the people to understand how the internet will function. But nowadays, if you see the kids from the fourth, third, or fifth standard, they have their mobiles in their hand, right? And even the pandemic has exploded these things, and the kids has done their educations or classes, primary, secondary, right, on the online, right? So they know a little bit of how the computer or phone works, at least. So now if someone need to know at very layman term what is cloud, right? We are just using someone else compute, someone else storage instead of our own, right? We are renting just very terminology, right? We do Uber or Ola in India, right?
Yes,
We
sir.
rent their car for specific reason, and we pay for that specific kilometers or time, right?
Yes,
The same thing applies to the cloud. We are using someone else computer to do our job for specific time, and we are paying for that, and that's done. So any service that we wanted to leverage, deploy, it is consumption based. So you use your compute, any service, storage for specific time. So that's cloud has to offer. Yeah.
so yeah, when we know the pandemic has changed a lot of things, and cloud has been practiced more and more now after the pandemic. So how have you adapted this transition, and those who weren't able to product this time, the pandemic time, how you will guide them, like how they can start building up themselves.
Yeah, I think one thing a pandemic has done good for the people is we got a little bit of more time, right? The
Yes,
travel time to the school, colleges, even offices, right? Now, it's still most of the thing. Most of the time we are working from home, right? So we got at least 2 to 3 hours extra comparatively prior to pandemic, right? I think we don't need to do anything extra. We whatever the time that extra we got as part of this work from home, or the opportunity that we can do most of the things online now. I would say take take a hour in a day. Um, Go and maybe couple of months or a couple of weeks, just try to explore or learn, take some courses on YouTube, or just explore the webinars that we had on this channel, right? And then once you are a little bit of familiar with the cloud technologies or whatever the emerging technologies, right? Sign up for 30 days free trial which Azure has to offer, right? And then explore all the services by your own hand. Play around, start something that you wanted to explore. Make sure that you do not you do not consume any service which is highly cost it can cost you too much of money, right? Because your
Yes.
credit card is linked to that. So but Azure has so many services free available for you, which will do a job for you. You can do most of the use cases for you. So yeah, get started on that.
So I'm very curious about your Monday routine. So sir, what's your Monday routine looks like?
My Monday routine start from the Friday end of the day, actually. What I usually plan. I usually scan all my meetings before my end of the day. So maybe that's Friday, right? I scan my calendar, what is happening in my next week, or and then very high level at the next week, right? Is there any time? Is there any meeting that is coming up which I need to make some quick presentation, or is there anything that I need to be extra cautious, right? So I scan that, and then Monday, I think Monday is because I know what I'm going to do in that week, right? So usually I usually I get started whatever I have in mind on the Friday. And usually yeah, so most of the times it is so if few people thinks that any developer or engineer, right, we don't really work 8 hours. It is couple of hours in a day, and then because it is in IT or any development field, it is not like giving your 100% or 200% every minute, right? So
Yes.
we need to prepare. It is like a marathon. You prepare for marathon. Take an example of 100 days, right? And then at the D-day, you give your best, right? So in the same thing happens in IT as well. You would always occupied with something. You would have playing something in your mind, always saying that this is the new version that is coming up, or this is the patch I need to apply, or there is a bug fix that I need to do, right? So if there is any new technology coming, I'll be always reading some blogs, watching some videos, or talking to few people, right? And understanding what is happening, how to solve problem, right? How the people has solved this problem. And this is like practicing, right? And then when these things comes up, I'll apply all those learning which I had for a couple of years. So well, again, same thing, same terminology, running like a marathon, preparing for the marathon, and then deploying on the D-day.
Yeah, that's what I prepared for at least 4 years to just run and win for 9 seconds. So that's why definitely
Yes, yeah,
practice matters a lot and consistency matters a lot. And
yes.
so one last question from my side is, sir, like you are leading a company and also you are contributing so much to the community. So how you are managing all these things and how you manage your time specifically?
Yeah, I think when we work in the industry, right? So after a couple of months or years, you go into autopilot mode because you know most of the things what you need to do. Yeah. And then there might be a chance opportunities where you need to give some extra efforts to your day-to-day job, and then take some extra time from your daily routine, and work on it, right? So what I really mean is, if you have passion towards anything, just not the community, your fitness, your community, you're talking to your friends or talking to your parents, right? If you have priority setup, then you would make it. Otherwise, if you think that you cannot make time, that is also true. If you think that you can make a time, that is also true, right? So for me, the priority is really always in my mind, that what I need to do and how I can contribute back to the community, how I can talk to the community. There is also, I have a hidden agenda in that also, because when I talk to the people, I also need to do some research on it, right? I cannot just come and talk anything. Otherwise I will be blank. So that way I'll learn something. When I talk to people, I learn something, to get their ideas. So that's how I keep active. That's how I keep engaged in the community.
Definitely. So, it was very incredible listening to you, your time management things and the agenda that you have described. The also the Friday, the recruiting and batching the time so that you can get even more idea like what you are going to do the next day. You are just not putting some random stones in the river. That's why it is very important to learn the time management skill if you are working in the community or wherever you are. And definitely, if you are having a passion, urge to do something, you can get anywhere wherever you want. So for the
Absolutely.
last note, I would just like to end this podcast. So thank you. Inspiring to listen from you, to listen the beautiful. It's pleasure to host the podcast with you, and we are coming up with lots of initiatives. So I hope to collaborate in future events too.
Thank you so much, Lakshit. Thanks the community for the opportunity to talk to you guys. It is always a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. So guys, stay tuned and do subscribe to the channel. Thank you.